Hello, I hope you're safe and I hope you're well. Social distancing, self-isolation, lockdown, all words that were totally outside my vocabulary 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now we find ourselves in a situation where we have to spend most of our time indoors and we're only allowed out once a day to get a little bit of exercise. This is particularly hard for anyone like ourselves. We've got kids and we've got a small yard, and you know it is tricky, and I'm sure many of you are probably struggling with this. So particularly at this time of year for me, you know, being outdoors, I try and spend as much time outdoors as I can, and this time of year there's all sorts going on as well. Every year I head out to local spots to capture the toads that migrate to their breeding grounds. Just before the lockdown I was watching some peregrines that were starting to display for each other and looking like they were going to nest. I was really excited about developing some kind of project around them. There's lots of other things as well going on, hares chasing each other and all sorts of birds breeding, and you know it's a really exciting time. So to be stuck indoors can be quite a frustration experience, and I know that a number of you will be feeling the same kind of frustration that I'm feeling. So as a result, I've found the video button on my camera and I'm gonna try and do some videos for you. It's not my favourite thing in the world doing videos. It doesn't come completely natural to me. It's kind of strange looking into a bit of glass and talking to it. I much prefer my workshops where I talk with people and interact and get that kind of instant feedback from them. But I'm going to give it a go, and just please bear with me. Hopefully the more I do it, the more natural it will become, and the less I'll go and all that. So forgive me for all those kind of things. I'll hopefully get used to it. What I really want to do for you guys is go, because we can't go out anywhere other than this short period of exercise, I want to do a photo walk with you, film it and show you what's on the doorstep, and show you that even though we can't go to some of our favourite beauty spots or whatever, there's just as much to get excited and inspired about on our doorstep. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take us out, I'm going to show us talk you through some of the things that I find and why and how I've decided to photograph those things, and hopefully that will encourage some of you to do the same with your own time and your own period of exercise. I thought I'm going to do that in the morning for you, but right now what I thought I'd do is talk you through my approach that I'm going to take tomorrow. So I've got my camera here. Now, if you were on a workshop with me earlier on in the year, a few of the keen-eyed among you noticed that I had a Sony camera. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it's worth talking about the setup because quite a few people were interested when I was on these workshops. Now, I'm not a big brand man. I have had a lot of cameras over my time. When I first started getting into photography at school, I had a Canon A1, I think it was, which was a 35mm manual camera, film camera, and I enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed using Canon ever since. And the Sony range was particularly the A7R range, has always sort of caught my eye and attention. And the reason behind it really was the specs when the A7R4 came out really were quite impressive, and on paper there's no other camera that offers quite as much as this camera. I know you've got those phrases like a camera's only good as the photographer behind it or something like that. Those phrases I don't pay too much, I don't put too much stock into those phrases, but the truth and the reality is that each camera offers different kind of things. There's different trade-offs between cameras. So if you've got a camera that's particularly fast and got fast autofocus, something like that, chances are the sensor size or those megapixels, the file sizes that you get from it are going to be a bit smaller. Whereas if you've got a big file size, you know, getting 100 meg files from it, chances are that autofocus and some of the speed at which that camera operates might not be as fast as those ones with the smaller megapixel counts. So there's lots of different, that's just two examples, but you know, there's lots of different trade-offs that different cameras do. So I'm always interested in exploring what different cameras offer and can bring to different things, so that's part of the reason. And I'm not getting rid of my Canon gear. Like, there's loads of videos of people ditching Canon for Sony or ditching Sony for Canon, or Nikon. Let's try and do a BBC thing where we keep all the brands the same, Fujifilm as well. They all offer different things, and it's about finding ones that get used to you. But I'm still getting used to this. I'm still using Canon on my commercial shoots and stuff like that. So it's just more, I've just been quite keen on this range, and enjoy using the different cameras. Now, when I got this, we were in a different situation at the beginning of the year, and as a result of where we are now, or kind of, I guess, I haven't actually got any Sony lenses with this Sony camera, but that's okay because I bought a Metabones at the same time. This Metabones adapter, which allows me to use a Canon lens on the Sony systems, and I wasn't sure how effective it would be, but the truth is it actually works really well, and it has exceeded my expectations. Now, like I said, I'm not getting paid for a review or anything. I'm not going to go into a review of that, but it's worth noting because I know people ask me about it on emails as well as when I'm on my workshops. What I really want to talk about is this lens. So the approach I'm going to take tomorrow, I'm going to use a 50mm lens. It's a Sigma Canon Fit 1.4 Art Series lens for anyone who's interested. But the key thing is that it's this fixed focus 50mm lens. Now, 50mm lenses are quite a popular choice with street photographers because they kind of give this real world view, if you like, or in the photos and the perspective that you get. What I really like about the fixed focal length lenses is that they engage your brain a little bit more. So most people walk around with zoom cameras, zoom lenses these days, and it's very easy to kind of just keep your feet still and zoom in and zoom out as suits, and we sort of almost bring the world to us rather than immerse ourselves into that world. So I like the idea of using this kind of fixed length lens because we're going to get up and move and adjust our point of view according to what we need to, rather than zoom in and out. While I'm on that subject, so that's a bit of a specialist lens, of 50mm. Even though it is a 50mm, you can pick up these Canon. This is a Canon, and I'm sure other brands are very similar. This is just a Canon 50mm 1.8 lens, and this is £100. I've used it a lot myself. I used to use it a lot before I had that lens, and it's really light, which is great. Really nice to just get out and walk with this light lens on a camera and give you really nice results as well. £100 brand new, about £50 on eBay, I imagine. And with all the other brands, I imagine they're a similar price. I'm sure they are. So that's worth investing if you want. But if you want to stick to your zoom kit lenses, something like that, there's no harm in just putting a little bit of masking tape on the top. Lock it in at 50. If you're particularly precious over your zoom lens, you don't need masking tape. You can just hold it and lock it in. It doesn't even have to be at 50mm. Find a distance that you want to go out and exploring with, and just lock it in and just resist that temptation to zoom in or zoom out. So that's the kind of key behind the exercise. So I'm going to go out with this setup tomorrow and talk you through what I find, how I approach it, and why I'm interested in it. And hopefully you guys will find that encouraging and inspiring in these tricky times. So thanks for bearing with me. I know I'm not completely used to talking into this lens, but as I say, I hope it'll get easier, and thanks again, and I'll see you in a minute. It's a beautiful day. Let's get going. Blackbird right above us singing. I don't know if you hear it. Brilliant. We're going to peak too soon on this walk, I think, as well, because of what I've got down here is great. We've got a chrysalis that's been sitting here since October and November between some bins, and it stayed there, and I guess it was going to hatch soon. Let me get it for you. Here we are now. chrysalis on these bins. These bins go out every 2 weeks, get collected, and this has survived the entire winter. Looking forward to seeing that come out. Here we've got a little gully, and I love little places like this because you look at all these green shoots that are shooting out the walls, and I love it where you see these man-made materials clash with the natural world. So I'm going to explore here for 5 minutes, see what we find. Lots of interesting markers to mark the time that we're in at the moment. Lots of signs, staying safe, bins that are closed, and park areas. So I'm going to explore here. I'm going to capture some of this stuff that sort of records the times that we're in as well. So I wanted to capture the fact that this play park is closed, and you know, for parents and kids it's a massive thing not being able to get to the into a play park. So I wanted to capture that, and the way I started to think about it, firstly I started snapping the signs and stuff, but then I started thinking about how strong these shadows are down here, and I started to compose to sort of get that kind of oppressive nature from the shot with that strong sort of almost prison-like kind of shot. Some flowers out. Who doesn't love some flowers, and how can that not brighten up your day, eh? So I'm just walking through, and these light catching these daffodils has really captured my attention. Not just the flowers, but the light that's catching them. I'll just get close up and you'll see. Just the back of the sun's just backlighting them beautifully, so I'm going to spend a few minutes here capturing these as well. Okay, so I'm just arrived at our local park. There's a lot of bird action going on here, loads of jackdaws, blackbirds, all sort of gathering nesting material and stuff, so I'm going to put the video down and see whether I can capture anything. So hung out in this park for a bit next to the A65, and I've pretty much eaten into that 45 minutes that I'd allowed myself to have a quick photo walk, and that's time up and I'm gutted. So much still more to photograph, but some great shots that I think I've got that hopefully I've shared with you and inspired with you. I can hear a curlew just kicking off in the background there, which is great. An oyster catcher flew past earlier as well. So spring's here, everything's kicking off. There's going to be so much to photograph right on your doorstep wherever you are. Honestly, that's the truth. So go out and find it. I hope this helped some of you to find a bit of inspiration, and I'll see you again soon.